Hey, I hope you're having a great day. So today, yes, we're talking about strategic leadership and technology, and today the focus is on strategy. So strategy is all about trying to work out what path you should follow. Now, when it comes to technology, I mentioned this before, you get this kind of graph, whereas at the beginning, there's lots of money to be made for the business, but it's very challenging, lots of problems, and then it becomes more mainstream, and then it drops off the edge, and then you end up with faxes and checks and stuff that people really shouldn't be using anymore, but somehow still exist because people have got used to them and they don't want to change, because people are always hesitant to change. So your role as a manager, as a leader, is to try and get rid of that hesitancy, but also make sure we're not doing shiny things, not bringing in technology too soon when it's not ready. So a good example of that might be, how do you manage artificial intelligence at the moment? Or this idea that we can just stuff something into a tool and it will give us loads of content. Well, my advice is correct policy. I've got one, I'll share it with you, I'll give you a link, you can download it. But the real thing here is, what shouldn't it be doing? How should we not be using it? What risks are there? So a hammer could be used to attack somebody, but it can also be used to make something. And the same is true of artificial intelligence or any piece of software. And the problem is often that we struggle to learn how to use the tool effectively, get people to understand what the benefits are, and it ends up sitting on the sidelines, sitting in the drawer, never to be used, because it's not worth our time to invest in it to learn how to use the tool effectively. But you need to investigate, does the tool do what we actually need? Or even worse, you create a tool and then realise that it needs a lot more work to do what you need, and that's often a dangerous path. If you're a smaller micro business, I strongly recommend, unless you're a software developer, you don't create your own tools. It's really not worth doing. It's just very expensive, and you have a lot of management time. Obviously, the bigger business, the tools may not exist, you may have to create them, but it's worth buying them off the shelf. And I always say, if there's a tool that does everything, makes the tea, look at that first, because that's probably going to be aligned better to your business needs. It might do 95% of what you want, rather than buying 20 different tools that sort of do kind of bits that you like. And it is difficult. Once you've got a workflow and a business process, you bring in a new tool, you have to redesign that process, sometimes from scratch. That's going to take a lot of time and energy. So your strategy has to be to make sure that you're going along the right path. You have to set marker points to say, well, look, if we implement this part of the tool and it doesn't deliver, then we need to reconsider if this is the right tool. You don't want to just keep going. Or if we implement this tool and everybody hates it, is it because the user training has a problem? Is it because the tool has a problem? Or we implement this piece of software and we found it does all these other things, but we're not ready to implement those yet. How do we hold the team back? And these are the sort of management decisions and strategic stuff you need to be thinking about. In the next video, we're going to talk about service. And often I think lots about infrastructure when I talk about service, but there's lots of other stuff to consider as well. So let me know what you think about the thoughts around strategy I mentioned today, and we'll speak more later in the week. Thanks for watching.